In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how compliance cases are completed in Tifo. Once you have created a compliance case in Tifo, either a contractor or an agency staff member needs to complete it, depending on the completer type that was set when the case was created. Completing a compliance case means opening each individual case step and fulfilling its requirements. We are currently logged in and viewing the compliance case as an agency staff user in the Manage Case screen, and in here you'll be able to see additional case management information such as, for example, the summary section to track the progress of the case, or the case ownership section to see who at the agency owns the case. And if we just scroll down to the bottom of the screen, we can see this compliance checks section with a selection of colour-coded tiles, with each tile representing a step in the compliance process that needs to be completed. If the contractor was selected as the completer when creating the compliance case, when the contractor logs into their own portal, we'll see that the view they have is similar in terms of the compliance checks coloured tile layout. When the contractor logs in, they are greeted with a welcome message across the top of the screen. However, you can see that a lot of the user interface that is presented to the agency staff member is not presented to the contractor. Regardless of whichever completer is selected when assigning the case, the contractor or agency staff member would follow the exact same process themselves on their own respective portal if they are completing the case. However, for the purpose of this tutorial, we'll mainly be focusing on the process from the contractor's perspective, and we'll switch back to the agency staff portal when appropriate. The personal details and contact information steps are normally configured to automatically appear in all compliance cases. The personal details step requests general information about the contractor, and the contact information step gathers contact information such as address and phone number. A case may also automatically include an evaluation step. If the compliance profile being used is configured to have this, then it will be added at the end of the compliance case to request feedback from the user on how they found the compliance process and ask for a rating out of 5 stars along with any comments. To begin completing the case, the user would firstly click into one of the steps. If the step represents a single check rather than a group of checks, then the contractor will be taken directly to that check, and this is where information can be entered and verified, and documents can be uploaded if the check is configured to allow document uploads. The first check that a user would normally complete is the personal details check, as this usually comes first in the sequence. Clicking onto the personal details tile will take us through to the personal details check, where the user would firstly read the instructions and then fulfill the check's requirements, in this case completing the necessary fields to supply their personal details. Once a check's requirements have been fulfilled, then the user will be able to click the Save/Next button to move on to the next check in the case and mark the current check as completed. Once a case step is completed, the progress bar across the top of the screen will reflect this by turning the case step green. You can hover over any other step to see its name or click on it to go directly there. The colours give an indication of the completion status of each step, and you can see how much of the case has been completed as a percentage in the top right corner. If we navigate back to the progress summary as the contractor, we can also see that the tile itself has turned green, again to indicate that that step is complete. If the tile is blue, then the case step is available, which means it's not been started yet. If the tile is orange, this means that the case step requires attention because only some but not all of the information has been added or a check has not been saved yet. If a tile is grey, then this means that it is not currently required. We can see this with the evaluation step, which will become available once the other checks are completed. If a contractor logs out of the portal and then logs back in at a later date, they can pick up easily from where they left off by using the colour-coded tiles to determine which steps are outstanding. A compliance case can have groups and even subgroups, which are collections of checks. If a case step represents a group of checks, then if the user clicks into that case step, they will be taken through to a further submenu of tiles which represent further checks or subgroups of checks. A group of case steps can also have their own rules which determine what it takes for that group to be marked as completed. For example, in this right to work group, the rule is that one of these subgroups, either passport and visa or birth certificate and NI, must be completed in order to mark the right to work group as completed. So if we go into this passport and visa subgroup, we can see that the rule here is that both the passport and the visa check need to be completed for the passport and visa subgroup to be completed. So if we just go into the passport check, read the instructions, and then upload a copy of our passport by either dragging and dropping the document into this screen, or by clicking Choose Files and searching for the document, and then clicking Upload. Clicking Save and Next will take us through to the visa check, which again, if we read the instructions and complete, will then mark the Right to Work group as a whole as completed, and that birth certificate and NI subgroup is not required. Logging out as the contractor and back in as the agency user, we'll see that the case that has been started by the contractor but has not been completed yet is sat in the In Progress report of the Comply dashboard. And if we click Manage in the Actions column to go through to the case management screen for that case, there is an audit log that is visible to the agency that automatically logs when any actions have been carried out on the case and who they were carried out by. The agency staff user can also get an idea of the completion status of the case by looking at the information complete percentage in the summary tile, as well as looking at the case status, which also determines which tile on the agency staff's dashboard this compliance case will be contained within, whether that be not started if the information complete percentage is 0, in progress if the information complete percentage is greater than 0 but less than 100%, and eventually to review once the information complete percentage is at 100%. If we just go back into another check, users can also add comments to a check. Comments can be made by both agency staff and contractors, and these are visible when both completing the case step and when reviewing it later on, and this just provides a convenient means of communication between the contractor and the agency directly on the check itself. Similarly, agency staff can also add agency notes to a compliance check. An agency note is only visible to agency staff and not visible to the contractor, so this provides a convenient method of internal communication directly on the check itself. And that's most of what you'll need to know in order to complete compliance cases in Tifo. Please check out the further guidance below, and if you need any more information then please go to our extensive training blog for further guidance and tutorials. Thank you for watching.